Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Gopi Jana Bhalava Giribharadhari Gopi Jana Bhalava Giribharadhari Gopi Jana Bhalava Giribharadhari Gopi Jana Bhalava Giribharadhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 63, Lord Krishna fights with Banasura, text number 25. Jwara Uvacha Namami Tvanantakshaktim Paresham Sarvatmanam Kevalajyanati Sat Sarvatmanam Kevalakyapti Matram Vishotpatistana Samo Samrodahetum Yattat Brahma Brahmaligam Prashantam Jwara Uvacha Namami Tvananta Shaktim Paresham Sarvatmanam Kevalagyapti Matram Vishwotpatistana samrodha hetum yatat brahma brahmalingam prashantam jvara uvacha namami tvananta shaktim paresham sarvatmanam kevalam kyapti matram Vishotpatistana samrodha hetum yatat brahma brahmalingam prashantam. Please chant. Jvara uvacha jvanamami tvananta shaktim paresham sarvatmanam kevalam gyapti matram Vishwatpatistana samrodha hetum yatat brahma brahmalingam prashantam jvara uvacha namami tvananta shaktim paresham sarvatmanam kevalam gyapti matram Vishwatpatistana samrodha hetum yatat brahma brahmalingam prashantam jvara uvacha namami tvananta shaktim paresham sarvatmanam kevalam gyapti matram Vishwatpati stana samrodha hetum jatat brahma brahmalingam prashantam jvara uvacha namami tvananta shaktim paresham sarvatmanam kevala gyapti matram Vishwatpati stana samrodha hetum jatat brahma brahmalingam prashantam jvara uvacha. The fever weapon of Lord Shiva said, Namami, I bow down, Twa, to you, Ananta, unlimited, Shaktin, whose potencies, Para, supreme, Isham, the Lord, Sarva, of all, Atmanam, the soul, Kevalam, pure, Gyapti, of consciousness, Matram, the totality, Vishwa, of the universe, Utpatti, of the creation, Sthana, maintenance, samrodha, and dissolution. Hetum, the cause, yat, which, tat, that, Brahma, absolute truth, Brahma, by the Vedas, Lingam, in indirect reference to whom, Prasantam, perfectly peaceful. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Shiva Jwara said, I bow down to you of unlimited potencies, the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul of all beings. You possess pure and complete consciousness and are the cause of cosmic creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Perfectly peaceful, you are the absolute truth to whom the Vedas and indirectly refer. Purport. Previously, the Shiva Jwara felt himself to be unlimitedly powerful and thus attempted to burn Sri Krishna. But now he himself has been burned, and understanding that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he humbly approaches to bow down and offer praise to the Absolute Truth. According to the Acharyas, the word Sarvatmanam indicates that Lord Sri Krishna is the Super Soul, the giver of consciousness to all living beings. Krishna confirmed this in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Mata smriti jnanam apohanancha. Quote, from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. End of quote. In his commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti emphasizes that the Shiva Jwara has realized in many ways Lord Krishna's supremacy over his own master, Lord Shiva. Thus, the Shiva Jwara addresses Krishna as Ananta Shakti, quote, possessor of unlimited potency, end of quote. Paresha, quote, the supreme controller, end of quote. And Sarvatma, quote, the super soul of all beings, end of quote. Even of Lord Shiva. The words Kevalam Gyapti Matram indicate that Lord Krishna possesses pure omniscience. According to our limited understanding, we act in this world. But Lord Krishna, with his unlimited understanding, performs infinite works of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. As Srila Jiva Goswami points out, even the functions of the gross elements such as air depend on him. The Taittiriya Upanishad 2.8.1 confirms this. Bishashmat bata pavate, quote, out of fear of him the wind blows, end of quote. Thus, Lord Shri Krishna is the ultimate object of worship for all living beings. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapada Swami. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyate Satarini. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, I'm going to keep the class a little short today because we have a whole bunch of activities that starts today We have a health convention for the Spanish community of Rogers Park. So we're preparing for that, and it's cooking and etc. etc. So a little busy day. So I'm gonna try to be compact with this. For the benefit of some of our friends here, the narration goes, so far, right now, we're in the middle of this great battle between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. And the battle took place because Lord Shiva has given a promise, a benediction to this demoniac king. His name is Banasura, that he will protect his city, he will protect his kingdom. And although this Banasura has acted in a way that is disregarding his own spiritual preceptor, Lord Shiva, he's not only disregarding but disrespecting in many, many ways. He challenged Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva warned him that, you fool, your pride will be completely destroyed. Because the whole thing, just, recounting, he received these blessings from Lord Shiva to have 1,000 powerful arms. So this demon was very powerful. And he came in a lineage, a very powerful lineage of demons that comes from Prahlad Maharaj. So he was the son of Bali Maharaj, who was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. And as you know, Lord Nrsingadev have blessed Prahlad Maharaj that all the lineage of descendants from him will be fully protected by him. Nothing will ever harm his lineage. So this Banasura, although the son of such a great personality as Bali Maharaj, he still was afflicted by this demoniac mentality. And he received the benediction for Lord Shiva to have these 1,000 arms. So he was very powerful. And having 1,000 arms and having these great, great material, powers, he considered himself at one point as no one can be greater than him. He is the most powerful. Part of the demoniac mentality. The demoniac mentality is that with whatever facilities we have, we receive in this world, one becomes proud, and with pride basically goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and makes one think that I'm just great. And at one point, I'm greater than anyone. And I must be, the great controller and the great enjoyer. Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. What is the mentality? Ishvara aham aham bhogi. I am the Ishvara, the controller, and I am the enjoyer of everything. So with this mentality and with this immense pride in his powers, he challenged Lord Shiva and considered Lord Shiva inferior to him. And although Lord Shiva could fully chastise this demon and destroy his pride, Lord Shiva, being perfectly in tune with Lord Krishna's pastimes and perfectly in tune with Lord Krishna's desires, he warned this demon, that his pride will be destroyed very soon by Lord Shiva's master. And this demon was so proud that he say, "Oh, very good. So I'm going to have someone, not you, you are lesser, but I'm going to have someone who's going to fight me. And what you say that he's going to defeat me, no one can defeat me. So I'm so sure of my greatness, and I'll defeat this guy, whoever he is, and I'll be glorified as the most powerful." Now, the pastime went on, and now the fight comes of Lord Krishna against this demon, Vanasura. And because Lord Shiva has promised, and with the desire that Lord Krishna should be glorified as the greatest, as the most powerful, as the supreme. And then Lord Shiva fought with all his powers against Lord Krishna. But this fighting is not um, with being antagonistic towards Krishna. He's not fighting as Krishna's enemy. He's fighting Krishna ferociously as Krishna's devotee, which is quite wonderful. It's quite a wonderful thing. Lord Shiva is fighting to win against his master as a offer of devotion. This is very difficult to understand by materialistic people. I mean, even Mahatma Gandhi, the great father of one of the most beloved and glorified personalities, not only in India but in the world, in modern times, he couldn't understand this, that Krishna, he couldn't understand the fact that the battlefield that Krishna was encouraged to happen, that God is into fighting and wars and things like that. So he says, the Krishna who is talking about fight, that Krishna I don't accept. So it's not easy to understand, but it's such a wonderful thing. And the fact is that, Krishna is establishing these wonderful pastimes that are very attractive, and they clearly shows the world his supreme position. So Lord Shiva fought like that. And in the fight, this amazing fight happens with all kinds of celestial weapons. And then as Lord Shiva sees, at one point that he is being defeated by Lord Krishna, and the weapon that Krishna used to completely bewilder Krishna was a yawning weapon. So there is Lord Shiva, yawn. When you yawn like that, you're sleepy, you're foggy, you just don't hear anything. You just hear this big yawning in your head, like that. So Krishna covers, with this sleepy, bewildering, yawning weapon, Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, at that moment at sea, he had enough understanding to release his ultimate weapon. The most powerful weapon, the weapon that he uses at the time Lo- Lord Shiva has the service in the universe of destroying the universe. At the time of this dissolution, that's his service for Krishna. Just as Brahma creates the universe, Lord Shiva destroys it. So Lord Shiva performed his famous dance that you see, covered in that aura of fire, and then he's dancing with his, feet, one feet up like that, and playing that dum dum drum. I think it's called the dum dum drum. So, and then this is a weapon that he released at that time, this Shiva Jwara. And it's described, this weapon is described as this personified weapon that is massive. Yesterday we heard, you have 3 legs, you have 6 arms, and you have 9 eyes. So, meaning must have 3 faces or 3 heads with 3 eyes. So then you have 9 eyes. And the power of heat that it has is 12 times the heat of the sun. 12 times. And as he advanced, there was so much heat. It was like a volcano walking towards you. Like with ashes, when a volcano erupts, then you see the clouds of ashes that comes out of the volcano. I mean, recently, there was some time ago, there was a huge volcano eruption in Europe, right? And then a cloud of ashes just cover a good part of northern Europe, like that. So this Shiva Jwara is raining, ashes all over. So it's this massive, powerful weapon. So Lord Krishna counteract the weapon with his own Vishnu Jwara. And we heard yesterday about the Vishnu Jwara, the descriptions that there were, Krishna Archana was reading about the description of the Vishnu Jwara, which is counteracts heat with cold. And Srila Prabhupada explains yesterday that when you have very strong fire, but you put that fire in a very cold environment, then naturally that fire, that heat start to wind down until it's finished. So no one can resist extreme cold. That's what Prabhupada say. It's an ultimate, powerful weapon. So this Shiva Jwara at one point realizes, I'm finished. I'm finished. So all that power became dissipated. And with the dissipation of the power, there is also the dissipation of the conception that you have of I am powerful. So this is the moment in which this entity, the Shiva Jwara, comes to realize by direct experience Krishna's position. Because the Shiva Jwara, you can understand, you put yourself, let's think a little bit about it. The Shiva Jwara is, the master of Shiva Jwara is Lord Shiva. And every time Lord Shiva releases the Shiva Jwara, then the Shiva Jwara does his service in such a powerful way that the whole thing gets born and destroyed. Yesterday we were hearing, how he actually burns to ashes all the planets at the time of, partial dissolution. Only the Satyaloka, the planet of Lord Brahma, remains, safe. But everything else, burned to ashes. So powerful. So nothing can come in the way of this powerful being, personified weapon, Shiva Jwara. So that is the identity. My identity is that I'm this powerful weapon that will destroy everything that I'm supposed to destroy. So I'm being released against Krishna. I can destroy Krishna. I can burn, the whole universe. What is this? I can destroy. I can burn him. So I'm running, burning Krishna, to burn Krishna. And then I'm finding that actually the powers that Krishna has are way superior to my powers. And then at that moment, when you come to realize this personality is greater than me, and therefore this personality must be supreme. Now, that requires intelligence. That requires intelligence. In the very beginning, actually, it requires a certain type of capacity to process and being able to understand with the intelligence. It's almost like the intelligence becomes purified. It becomes purifying by Krishna conscious experience in one sense. People call this a religious experience. It's something that changes your life. It's a moment of realization that there is God and there is existence of God. So this Shiva Jwara is a close associate and a servant of Lord Shiva. And he understands Lord Shiva as his master. And he understands that, he served Lord Shiva with his power. So he is accountable to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is a pure devotee. Vaishnava Jata Sambhu. He's a great Vaishnava, glorified Vaishnava. So in this association, naturally, this Shiva Jwara has the qualification to come to that understanding. And now we're hearing his prayers towards Krishna. They're very, very wonderful prayers. They're the same type of prayers that you hear all great devotees will offer to Krishna. With perfect knowledge, with full knowledge, very lucid understanding of Krishna's position. That is the benefit of serving a Vaishnava sincerely and being accountable to a Vaishnava, to a pure Vaishnava. That you will receive Krishna's mercy and you will come to the position of understanding Krishna as the supreme. And therefore, with that understanding, you will naturally surrender to Krishna. And that's what happened here. Now, there are three ways that we come to this understanding, or three experiences that will lead you to the same place. And one is superior, they're gradated. one is superior, the next one is better. So you have the topmost, you have the second topmost, and you have the third one. The Shiva Jwara experience uh, come to this understanding by direct experience, and this is called pratyaksha. There is, you have to come to this. You have to what's the word? You have to experience these facts of this, absolute. You have to experience the absolute truth. It's called, um, Lord Krishna calls this as tattva darshan. Tattva darshan. You have to have a darshan of the truth, of the absolute truth. By the mercy of the spiritual master, you receive this darshan. Now, the most difficult one, and is also, the lesser intelligence, is when you do it by direct experience. It's very difficult. It's only in certain circumstances that you see. So in this case, the Shiva Jwara, by pratyaksha, direct experience, came to that realization. He was fighting Krishna, as Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments. He was going to burn Krishna. That was his intent. Krishna completely flattened him, and then he realized, oh, Krishna is supreme. So by direct experience. The second one is anumana. Anumana means by uh, by logic, or by, what's the word that is when you see something and you come to the conclusion, oh, it's like this, by um, inference, by logic, by, in other words, you see something and you put one and two together and you say, oh, no, supreme, supreme. So it's by that inference, you start to see all these, experiences. You're able to see, you hear, and you're able to see. You hear and you have all these conceptions, but then when you see, then you infer. You don't have to go to the experience. You do it by logic. Krishna must be supreme. That's called Anuman Pramana. Pramana means proof, like that. Yeah. The most powerful, the supreme of this experience of pramanas is called Shabda. Shabda Pramana, by hearing. So you have one by hearing, by seeing, or by direct experience. That's the way we can learn. Prabhupada says, the most intelligent, simply by hearing. So by hearing, you're able to say, oh, Krishna is supreme. Example, Arjuna. Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is hearing from Krishna. In the 10th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna, Aham Sarvasya Prabhabodhe, the Chaturshloki. I am the supreme cause of all things. Everything material and spiritual comes from me. Aham Sarvasya Prabhabo Matta Sarvam Pravartate. That someone who understands this, iti matva bhajante man, then will naturally surrender to me. Someone who have this understanding will naturally surrender. And then he says, I give the intelligence, the great personalities, they derive great pleasure. Krishna established his position throughout the Bhagavad Gita, up to that point, establishing, I am supreme. And just by Arjuna hearing, he came to that conclusion. So, so then he tells Krishna that Param Brahma, you are the Param. Param means supreme. You are the Param Brahma. You're the supreme spirit. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Babam. You are the supreme, you are, he say basically here, you're the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, Param Dhamma, the purest, the absolute truth. You're eternal, transcendental, the original person, the unborn, the greatest. So, simply by hearing Arjuna came to the same conclusion that Shiva Jwara has come by experiencing Krishna defeating or taking all his powers. And at the end, really, you get this way to the nose or you get this way to the nose, you got to the nose. You touch your nose. So at the end, however you get there, it's wonderful that you got there. When we got to understand Krishna's supremacy, then we can surrender properly with our heart to Krishna. And in one sense, that's the great task we have. The whole process of Saranagati is to surrender to Krishna, is to come to that position to really fully understanding that Krishna, he is the controller and he is the owner. He is the enjoyer of everything I do. Everything I do. So Krishna is the Bhaktaran Jagya Tapasham. He is the owner of all the planets, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. And he is my best well-wisher, Sruhidam Sarvabhutanam. So, coming to that position of surrender, then when we understand that Krishna is fully in control, and then therefore I'm surrendering to him. Some of the things that we have to fight as we become impurified, the part that we need to, the part that we need to purify is this conception of I am ... The false ego. Shiva Jwara, I am this powerful, unlimitedly powerful, weapon that it can be defeated. So Shiva Jwara Dasa had that conception, and that conception was taken away. And without that conception, he was able to fully surrender to Krishna. Our conception, particular conception, I am ... whatever it is. And then we're in the process of that upadi, or conception, of self-conception, to being gradually taken away by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And then when we come to perfectly understand Krishna's position, that he is the controlling, he is the enjoyer, he is providing for me a perfect arrangement. The Ishavasya principle. He is providing for me a perfect quota that will allow me to go in this life with what, fulfilling the needs that I have in this material world, but in a manner that is fully elevating me and connecting me with Krishna in, positive, pure devotion. So we will hear for the next few verses the prayers of the Shiva Jwara coming to this, expressing his realization and perfect devotion. Again, this is what Shiva Jwara said: I bow down to you of unlimited potencies. He thought before that I have unlimited potency, but it's you who have the unlimited potencies. The Supreme Lord, I thought I was a supreme weapon. No, you are the Supreme Lord, the super soul of all beings. You possess pure and complete consciousness and are the cause of cosmic creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Perfectly peaceful, you are the absolute truth to whom the Vedas indirectly refer. It's wonderful. Any comments or questions? Yes, may have to go and get the microphone there. Thanks, Ru. Chintya Prema.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. I have a question. For example, if so, you say that just by hearing, right? So a person can understand that the Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead. So let's say if someone wants to understand, right, wants to believe that, but cannot right now, right? So there's no like there's no it's the person on the path of understanding and really wants to understand, so but though doesn't believe that right now, so just by hearing, right, regular hearing, so the person can understand that, right? Or there are circumstances even like when you hear, you will not understand that the Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. So the question is the hearing is a for sure the ultimate process of understanding, or there are circumstances when the person is hearing but still not understanding.
Yeah, the beautiful thing is that this hearing in itself is a means of taking all the blocks that doesn't allow you to properly process. So the hearing is not only the process, but it's the means too, and it's the end. So, it's all that in one package. That's how Krishna arranged. So what is this is not just sound, but it's shabda. It's a spiritual transcendental sound that have the capacity to purify. Shimbatan swakata Krishnan punyan shavanam kirtanam. And then nashta praeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. That this hearing, Shrimbatan swakata, Shrimbatan to hear the kata of Krishna is the greatest of all purifying activities, you know. And very soon, when you put yourself in that position, the knot of all this, a spaghetti bowl of conceptions, of misconceptions of the self gets unentangled. And, and then the unwanted things from within the heart becomes purified. So the thing that doesn't allow us to tune in and to just by hearing, being able to realize is all these unwanted, things. So the process of hearing purifies that, and then you come to understand. So the hearing is the, most perfect of the pramanas. Um, the other ones are not recommended, by seeing or by direct experience, this anumana and pratyaksha. It's not that they're incapable. We see here that Shiva Jwara, just by pratyaksha, is able to. The process of hearing includes all of those, you know, includes all of those that are there. And in one sense, we go through all these three. Sometimes, we've been told that you know don't make offenses to the Vaishnavas or to the deities or to the holy name. Every day we chant, many of us, like committing offenses to the holy name, even though we recite the 10 offenses. So there's things that we can, although we know, we hear, we have to sometimes go through, and we see devotees who make offenses, who get into some offensive type of behavior, how much they suffer. Although we hear, we see that. Sometimes we do have to experience that ourselves because somehow or other, the false ego has that type of capacity, doesn't allow us to see objectively ourselves. We have the capacity to see others. Oh, this person is, doing all this, is being critical of this one, is doing this offense and this offense. Just see this, and then we do the same thing, but we don't see when we do it. We see how others do it. And then when we experience that I'm at the receiving end of the reactions of offenses, if I have the intelligence, if I have sincerely trying to hear, then Krishna will, exposes all these things and you're able to correct, then you see, oh. And that's the purifying effect. So we're going through all that. And in one sense, I imagine that Shiva Jwara, because by these prayers, you can see that he did have an understanding. It's just that it gets covered by these misconceptions of self. So it works like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Krishna Archana? Sunil Prabhu?
Thank you for class. Just quick comments on her questions. See, we have to understand that we are in this world facing birth and death all the times. Any bodies we accept it, we have to go through the same process of birth and death. It means that something wrong within ourselves. That's why we are keep getting the newer and newer bodies. So if you want to clean something inside, what do you do? Just like an example, we are in a kitchen. The kitchen drain is clogged up or filled up. How do you clean it? You do a Drano or rod it out and then you clean it out, right? Similarly, there are so many things inside, how are you going to clean it? So we do something, get inside, then clean inside. So that's why the first thing is to hear. Hear so many things, that way everything inside, all misconception, all the bad habits, so many things, all the bad things will go away just by hearing. But what happened that we hear 1 hour, 2 hours, and then we go into the market, go into the house, and then we fill up something else. So it's like a constant process, with constant hearing, and one day it will clear. The more you clear, then you will see the right thing. Just like other example Prabhupada gave, that when we are sleeping, the only one sense is open. Which one is that? The ear.
Yeah.
If somebody comes in your house, then all other senses are closed. Your eyes are closed, your body is closed. But only the ear is open. If somebody walks in, then you can immediately hear that somebody is coming. So that's why these senses of ear has to use it in a full capacity so that we can clean ourselves from inside. And then second thing is eating prasadam. That also goes inside. So prasadam and then hearing, these two things are very important.
Yeah.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
very good. Those two things. Prasadam and
See, unless the whole thing is to get out of the birth and death process. And the more we hear and hear, then Parikshit Maharaj got 7 days. And then what he did was just hear, nothing else. We don't know how many days we got in this world. So, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro. Do you have anything, Krishnarchan? Okay. So we can finish here. Thank you, everybody. Grantarashimam Bhagavatam Ki Jai.